kayak all kind of finished and ready for this year's fishing, so figured to give a little overview video of my Ascend 133X tournament. Kind of everything that I put on there to kind of suit my needs for fishing. So yeah, kind of go over what I did and how I kind of fabricated and jimmy rigged some things. Alright, sorry about a little bit of mess in the background, but I got the Moto Guide trolling motor. It was a 50 inch shaft, but I cut it down to 34 inches where it kind of sits just below, probably about 6 inches below the bottom of the kayak. And it does not have the spot lock, which am I upset about? Not really, but there's been a few instances where I've actually wanted to use it, but kind of never did. But I use it a lot for rivers, and yeah, I just haven't really had a dire need for it quite yet. But I've added a spotlight to the front for when I'm coming back from catfishing at night, and I got it on a disconnect, so I can still take the motor off and still have the light connected. With the trolling motor as well, I added a 1/2 inch marine board to it to kind of stiffen it up, because when I was going full throttle you would see it kind of flex a little bit in this area, so this thing really stiffened it up. Put 2 bolts through it and have these 3-inch washers that are stacked underneath to even the pressure out throughout the plate. And plus, kind of gives me a little lip where I have the power going to, and it kind of protects the power pack for the GoPro. But yeah, of course I have little Captain D on the front. He guides the way. I got my GoPro mount sitting right up front, and I've velcroed a power pack that I stick right there on the scuttle, or yeah, scuttle hatch, or whatever you want to call it. That way I can just run the whole time. I don't have to worry about swapping out batteries. Did a quick release thing. Actually, it's controlled right here by the seat, so it'll help me pull that down. And then I got sorry, it's hard to do this one-handed, but I got the pull string to pull it up and set it down. As we kind of move in here, I got the Garmin 9-inch with the live scope, which I'm going to kind of show you how I got this all wired in here. I got 2 wires coming through the front, and then I got everything mounted inside. So it's the GLS-10 black box. I got a Tractor Supply 18 amp hour battery that just runs the Garmin, and then I got just a regular lead acid battery that controls all the lights on the kayak, which I will show you here in a little bit. That's all run off the Yak power. So I got the transducer mounted. It comes through a hole at the bottom, the scuttle coming through, and then I kind of fabricated some PVC pipe, smaller one inside of a larger one, just allow me to move it and position it. It only sits a couple inches underneath the bottom of the kayak, and to kind of help support the pole, I put a kayak paddle to the side, on the side of it, where it'll actually allow it to kind of lock into place, tighten it down, and she holds on pretty good. I do have 3 rod holders where I added in these little plates just to kind of mount them to. They hold up pretty well. I've taken it on Lake Michigan for salmon and trout, and definitely had the full fair share of big catfish ripping on them. So they've held up pretty good. And I have the third one here, which is actually mounted to the handles of the kayak. So that way I can swap it to either side. I had another one of these, but a catfish decided to rip it out and take my pole, only because I did not lock it in there, which I do know for now that is a necessity, because the fish will take it. Of course, some storage. Keep extra fuses and nuts, bolts, and miscellaneous things in here just in case. Lotion in case my hands get a little dry, you know. And then I got a 100 amp hour lithium battery. I have 3 of these, so when I go on Lake Michigan, I normally carry a second one just in case. And this battery runs the trolling motor and my power pole back here, my micro. I also installed a USB charger just in case I need to charge anything. So I do have the micro power pole added onto this kayak. It is a great addition for rivers. The only downside with it is it's an 8-foot pole, so any lakes that you really want to anchor, it can be tricky, because a lot of lakes around here are 30, 40 feet, and yeah, it doesn't really help too much when you only have an 8-foot pole that realistically in a river I can get anchored in 6.5 feet of water depending on the bottom. You got, of course, paddles on the back, just your standard paddle holders on your rails. That's the other one that mounts for the power pole. So all I did was invert it and use some rivets with a rubberized sealer behind it. That way it didn't take on any water. So yeah, now we can kind of show you the lights. I'll do a little quick overview with it, and then I'll turn the lights off here in the garage and yeah, kind of show you what it looks like. So, yak powered system. One, I got connected with deck lights. I normally run them red when I'm night fishing. It seems to not attract as many bugs. That one has burnt out. I don't know what happened to it. I tried rewiring it, but it never, yeah, something went wrong with it, so that one is just burnt out. And then number 2 is the spotlight in the front, and that also is wired up to lights underneath that help light up the water at night, and it makes a world of difference. So there's one on each side of the kayak. So they're just screwed in, and the wire goes through the hole. And wired inside. So the side lights and the front spotlight are both connected together. And of course we got your bow and your stern lights. Just some LED strips, which are kind of rubberized, and they have taken a beating and still work flawlessly. And of course the light in the back, which I should get a taller one, as it's only 13 so inches up. So normally at night I have a light for my power pole that I'll stick on, and that'll kick it up in the air pretty well and make me pretty visible, especially when I'm on Lake Michigan fishing at night or early mornings. And then yeah, I have nothing wired to M yet. It used to be for the Garmin, but I didn't want it all on the same system, so I broke it up so it didn't burn out the batteries as fast.